What's up everybody, welcome back to Golf Simulator videos. We're back today with the Square Golf Launch Monitor to do a driver review. Had a lot of people ask for this and I get it. Driver can be a whole nother animal with a golf launch monitor. I've done some initial testing and I have some things to share with you along the way. I think I might have found maybe just a little weak spot here in the Square Golf Launch Monitor that you might want to pay attention to, at least if your swing is like mine, and I'll explain some more of that as we go on. Overall, the Square Golf Launch Monitor has performed quite well, as you guys have seen in the channel already by the videos that I've done. I mean, we did that unboxing video, hit a lot of irons. I mean, everything was pretty decent considering the price point. I would actually say it's a pretty darn good value overall. Using the marked balls, I was able to shape some shots. I did notice a couple of distance discrepancies, maybe due to low spin on the marked golf balls that are included being a little lower quality ball versus a Pro V1 that I would normally play with. I noticed on the chipping video, I even commented asking what everybody thought. A couple directional things, maybe a little horizontal launch angle variances, but overall, a pretty darn good experience, especially wild things like foot-long putts and little tiny chips, only going a couple yards. You know, it performed quite well for a device that kind of does everything with no subscription. They give you that practice range and the closest to the pin and putting like I showed you guys with their native software, but also a free connection right now to GSPro. I don't know if that's gonna stay or not, but as of right now, you could buy this GSPro license like we're gonna use today, and the Square Golf Launch Monitor is just at one price. And of course I have that discount code I've been offering as well. You can get that down in the description or pinned to the top of the comments. But without further ado, let's hit some drives and see how this thing performs. All right, so I'm just gonna go to the range. We'll use the flat range. I just feel like it's the best overall. I mentioned in my last video a tip for you guys. If you find the dead center of your hitting zone and put a tee there, it'll be good for you guys to just simply place the ball without hesitating because you don't have that graphical representation like you do with their native software. And then of course, I showed this in previous videos as well. This is that ball that comes with, it's actually a sleeve of them, that comes with the Square Golf Launch Monitor. That's what we're using because I just want to kind of use what's out of the box. And then, you know, as we move on, I think I'm going to try to get some stickers to place on the ball, like on a Pro V1. I saw some people using marker, and I'm just telling you, some of them were saying, well, I think it's okay for the screen. Well, maybe for your kind of screen, but if you have a premium screen like I do, I'm not putting marker on a ball because it will mark your screen up. I've seen what people have done before. So full disclosure on my driver, and then what am I hitting? This is a Ventus Black extra stiff shaft, and this is a newer head that I have, the QI10LS. I tend to hit way up on the ball, and if I hit high on the face, I can get some very low spin. But right now, I've been controlling it okay lately. Every once in a while, I'll get that miss, and it will kind of be a higher face miss that could even be sub 1,000. But I've been doing okay, and I tend to hover anywhere from 1,800 to 2,200. Now, that's a lower spinning ball. And what I've noticed is, a few times when hitting driver, I got zero side spin. That tells me that it might be missing side spin on a higher ball speed, around 160 to 165, and then lower spin possibly causing that versus a higher spinning ball that someone else might be hitting. All right, so let's take some shots, some easy ones to kind of get warmed up here. And that was a lower on the face shot, so a pretty good example out of the gate. I got curve out of it. Was only 155 mile per hour ball speed, and lower on the face, closed the face down a little bit, got me higher on my spin range than I normally would, but you'll notice the vertical launch angle with that closed face was pretty low considering I usually launch it around 14 to 15, I'd have to say. So let's see if we can clean that up a little bit. I'll try to ramp up some speed as we get going here. That one is a little toey, but I got my launch angle and I got it up to 157. And you can see that toey had some curve to it, so reading quite well on that. And I got curve to that ball, right? So it was good to see that we got curve to that ball. Carry was only 256, probably had a lot to do with that, you know, spin and the amount of curve on the ball. That was well hit. That was a really well hit ball. Getting warmed up. I like to see that it was a little bit of curve on it, and there you go. That vertical launch angle 15, 16 is what I like to see when I'm, making a really good swing. So if you guys have watched enough videos in the channel, you'll know that that is like a normal drive for me. Right now, it tends to be around 160. I tend to carry a 280, 285. The spin tends to be 1800 to 2200. So I like knowing that with this ball, I can produce what I would, normally expect on average. So that's good to see. All right. I figured that even though I've experienced the zero. Now that was 167. That's awfully low side spin, but that was really well struck. That was also really well struck. Notice the zero side spin. We finally got one. 159 ball speed. So that's what happens every once in a while. I mean, that ball was hit really well. I mean, I'm sure you could hear it and see it where it hit on the sim. It was a little bit to the right. Now, with my swing, I would tend to have that ball draw a little bit, and it did not draw. It was just dead straight. The horizontal launch angle, you can see where it hit, was right, so it read it correct. The spin was probably a little bit high from what I would expect on a well-struck ball like that, because it was not like it was lower on the face, generally around 2000. So just some variances. And the thing is I had a couple people comment already, saying, well, I had someone tell me it wasn't comparable to a Foresight, GC3 or whatever. And I was like, okay. I mean, it's $699, guys. I'm not telling you it's going to perform like a GC3 or a Quad or a TrackMan IO or something, I mean, it's not, I don't even think what it was intended for. I think it was intended for budget, and I think it was intended for fun, I mean, it's game improvement still too. I mean, these are pretty solid data results overall. You're just gonna have to pay attention, I think, to maybe a few misses like that, So that's what I've noticed. There were a couple irons that were zero side spin as well. They were very well struck irons. So I think maybe is that when it's really well struck like that, that it might not see enough movement of the dots. The ball might be knuckling enough to where it just doesn't catch the curvature due to the limitation of the cameras. That's what my theory is. And maybe it can be improved with the firmware update. That's the thing. All right, so that was kind of like a closed, face, I don't know what to call it, low, almost could have been Healy, but low on the face shot. So I'd like to see that there was side spin, but I'm not seeing a lot of side spin. Negative 167 on that one. That's pretty low. I had that ball potentially, with more spin the way that I struck it. So it was a little bit of a miss. I'm gonna wear myself out here, but I'm glad that I got a couple really good ones in there. I just had a huge project this weekend, so my body is really beat up. And that was a huge miss. Huge miss. I actually hit behind the ball on that. And I would have to say, I mean, come on, 666, 555. Maybe that was a miss, potentially. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that. Hey, you gotta show it all, right? I like showing it all. I mean, that was pretty bad. I'm trying to swing hard a little bit just to kind of, get that normal 160 or so ball speed. Yeah, see, there's another zero side spin. So I think I need to report this to them, and hopefully it's something to do with my ball speed, a 160 ball speed, my huge angle of attack, and the low spin that I normally get. But I think that we found maybe a little weakness in getting some of these zero side spins on driver. I'm using a black tee, so I don't think that's the case. I don't think the blue face on the QI would matter. I don't know if I place maybe the logo, or not the logo, but the dots at the unit, if that would help. I'm trying to place it in the middle, but This seems to be the one weak spot I potentially found. Man, I read a couple of those pretty good though with the curve and everything. There was a towy ball. Look at that thing. Vertical launch angle 15, backspin 4,500. Now I don't have that at 4,500. Not the way that was hit. You can see how that kind of had some funky spin, probably lifting it up higher than it should. I mean, I don't even know if I've ever spun a ball 4,500, so that probably was a miss too, I would assume. I mean, I'm glad it caught curve, but ball speed seems to be really consistent, and that's about where my ball speed is right now, so. And there's another 0. So, I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I mean, these are my results. Now, I don't know if anybody else is going to see this or not, but I had normal driver shots. When I went out and tested on the course during the unboxing, I played a hole before, I hit a couple drivers, and then I played the one on the unboxing itself, and I was getting some decent results, you know, but now I'm tending to get some of these misses, and maybe it's when I'm swinging harder. I'm noticing the ball speed is like always 159. I mean, usually I have some variance in there. I wonder if is it tapping out at 160, or does it, you know, can you not hit? I remember I hit 160 once. I'm gonna try to swing hard, real hard one time, see if I can get it over 160. Just seems to be a lot of 159. Yeah, 161.9. And see, like, that's a normal ball flight. Like a little draw 2,000 spin, so like I feel like it has the capabilities, like that's normal. That is very normal for me, swinging hard like that. 162. So I think this is a good test, and I want to be very transparent with everybody. I mean, these are always uncut videos. I'm just, you know, discovering things with you guys. The unit's been performing really well for the price point. I think we just might have found a little bit of a weak spot. Could have to do something with the ball. I mean, let's just be honest. Is this two-piece, which I think it is, a two-piece ball, capable of generating the spin needed? And is it knuckling so much that this isn't getting enough side spin out of the ball? It's a cheater ball. That's what it is. I'm not sure. You know, is it a cheater ball, or is the launch monitor struggling with the reading? And that's for us to, you know, reach out to Square Golf. We'll share this with them and see if they can come up with an update or suggestion on how we can get some better driver readings. But perfect example of what I would expect to see right there. Good curve to the ball, the normal spin and stuff that I would get. You know, that was a little bit lower toey, I'd have to say, and so you can see how the launch angle wasn't quite as high. You know, it was kind of like mid toe shot. So I think that, you know, overall, it's going to read driver, especially if you have a 162-ish ball speed. I think that you just have to pay attention to how your readings are compared to what you'd normally see. And then let me reach out to the guys, see what they say, and then we go from there. As always, guys, I appreciate you watching. Stay tuned. There'll be a lot more coming soon.